Good evening, welcome to the latest live edition of Last Bell Boxing. Proudly sponsored by LW Listings and SC Travel. Got a special guest in with us tonight. Someone that has been spending a lot of time in the UK at shows.
I'm here every week.
Johansson. Yeah. Everyone knows who you are, Daz. Hakan, welcome to the show, mate. No problem, no problem. This is what this show's all about, pal. So, welcome. Don't be scared to give your straight opinions, mate. That's what this show's all about. So, obviously, there's only one place we could start this week, and that's Callum Smith going over to try and steal them titles away from Arthur Beterbiev over in Canada, Saturday night, early hours, Sunday morning, I believe. Hakan, seeing as though you're new to the show, mate, we'll start with you. First and foremost, how do you think the fight goes? And then we'll get a prediction off you as well, if you can, mate.
I believe Callum Smith has a good chance in this fight. I think that the Yard fight, I believe that Yard started that fight very well. And I believe that Callum Smith has a better punch than Yard. So I will go for Callum Smith stoppage later rounds.
Gaz, we've spoke briefly about this in past shows, but Beterbiev's not difficult to find, is it?
No, not at all. I've sort of swung one way, from one fighter to other with this. I sort of believe Callum we're gonna win. Obviously, Callum can hit. I think he's a different sort of puncher to Yard, but
yeah.
I don't know, mate. I think we're taking his eye off Beterbiev a little bit. And I think there's been something said that's got his back up a little bit as well to do with testing. Callum or his team have come out with these. There were some adverse findings, but adverse findings of things that were produced naturally from your body, and then he got retested and they were negative. So I think Beterbiev's took that a little bit personal. And with what's on horizon, it could be seen as a bit disrespectful to Callum Smith already discussing Beterbiev and Bivol, but I've changed my mind. But I could be wrong, man. I think Beterbiev's going to stop Callum Smith.
Wow.
I think he's going to pressure him, and if I'll go as far as to say, if Beterbiev gets through first 3 to 4 rounds, I think he stops Callum Smith late. It just depends how he can take Callum Smith's punch and how sort of committed Callum Smith's going to be to that punch. Callum Smith, he can't take the back foot for me, Callum Smith, against Beterbiev. He's got to, he's got to stand in punching range, but obviously be elusive. He's got to commit to his shots. If he goes on back foot, Beterbiev will just walk him down and wear him out, I think. And I think that's what he'll do. I think Beterbiev will wear him down. And if he can take Callum short, I think he's gonna stop Callum Smith late. Could even see a corner retirement.
Oh, not a chance, mate.
No, I think Buddy McGirt could pull him out, mate.
No, it's not happening. I don't see that at all, mate.
What? He's getting beat up?
I don't think he'll get beat up.
No,
I'll give my opinion in a sec. Cole?
I actually think opposite to Darren. I think it's for Beterbiev to get him out there early if he's going to get him out there at all. I think he's going to come steaming out that corner because I actually fancy Callum Smith the longer the fight goes. He's a fresher fighter. I think against Yard, there's holes in Beterbiev's game towards the championship rounds. And I just think it's all about timing. I think timing makes fights. I think Smith's fresher. People tell me Beterbiev's not on the slide, but I beg to differ. On the slide might be strong term, but he's definitely slowing up. And I've never seen Callum Smith beat up yet. I know Canelo is a one-sided fight, but Beterbiev hasn't got the skills of Canelo. Let's not kid ourselves. So I think Beterbiev's in a spot of bother here, to be honest with you. I think the North Americans are sleeping on Callum Smith. So I think it will be. I can see Callum Smith stopping Beterbiev late. I think he's going to blow a gasket and blow himself out. So I think the belts are coming back to the UK.
So it is my 2 penneth worth. I think Callum Smith is an absolute monster at 175. He's not shown it. He's not shown his capabilities yet. This is going to bring it out in him. Beterbiev's vulnerable at the minute. He was vulnerable in the Yard fight. Callum Smith is a much better boxer than Anthony Yard. Yard might have single punch power better than Smith, but those hooks that Smith lands, they're quick. He whips them in, and half the time you don't see him coming. I think he's going to end up stopping Beterbiev earlier than everybody thinks. I think this is going to be a slugfest. I think it's going to be a war for as long as it lasts. I think it's going to be a great fight for as long as it lasts. But I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see Callum Smith stopping Beterbiev in the 7th.
I hope it's not a slugfest because if it's a slugfest, it's giving Beterbiev a better chance. I'm hoping Callum just outboxes him.
No, Callum's brilliant at catching countering. It's always been his trait, and that's what'll end up happening. He'll catch those shots off Beterbiev, and he'll whip those ups in, mate. It's going to be.
I tell you what, Beterbiev is going to do though. I'm pretty sure of it. He's going to punch Callum everywhere
and cut the ring off.
Yeah, he's going to punch him everywhere. He's going to try and do what Canelo did. You know, punch him on arms, punch him on forearms, punch him everywhere.
He's a different beast at 175 though, right, Dad? Callum Smith.
Oh, listen, I'll tell you what, mate, and I forgot to say it when I just get prediction. I hope I'm wrong. Because I like Callum Smith. I really hope I'm wrong. But I think it's, I agree 100% that Beterbiev's sliding, but I think it's sort of like a bit of a Golovkin situation. Golovkin was sliding, but he's still very, very good. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong, but I just think Beterbiev's he's just gonna wear him down. I think he's just gonna hit him everywhere.
Obviously, Daz, the last thing that goes in a fighter is his power.
Yeah,
that's what Beterbiev's known for: his power and his strength and his durability.
Well. Yeah, he's fit.
His durability. He can take a shot, but how long can you keep taking massive shots and walk through the way he does?
Yeah, we had this with Joyce, didn't we?
Exactly.
But you know, the good thing about the intriguing thing about this fight is it could be a case of he's on the slide too much, and Callum does do a job on him. It could also be a case of he is on the slide, but he's still good enough to beat Callum.
I think Father Time's due to pay a visit. I do, Dad.
It is, yeah. But is it going to be sat there? We don't know.
It's very intriguing, isn't it, Daz?
It could be sat there, or if he gets past Callum sat there, it could be against Bivol. You know what I mean? I will say that I think Beterbiev is an easier fight for Bivol than what Callum Smith would be.
I agree.
I agree too.
I do.
What?
No, Callum's much more difficult for Bivol than Beterbiev is.
No.
Yeah, Yeah.
Well, you think Beterbiev gives Bivol a better fight than Callum Smith?
I might have got this the wrong way around. So just explain to me what you're saying again.
I think Bivol deals with Beterbiev easier than he would Callum Smith.
I got the wrong end of the stick. I thought you were saying Beterbiev.
No.
Yeah. I think I'll go on record as saying Bivol beats both of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd say that as well, to be fair.
Just before we bring in Jack, Hakan, what's your opinions on that? Do you think Bivol's the best 175 in the world?
Yes. I think Bivol beat Beterbiev and Smith.
Yeah.
Outstanding, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't seen a fight when Bivol has been in like a war. He's so good.
Yeah.
So
Jack,
how we
good evening, mate.
How we handled the Canelo fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Walk in the park for him, wasn't it?
Arguably, Craig Richards did better than Canelo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Bivol got out of second gear in the Richards fight.
That's the only thing about Bivol, isn't it? He does just enough. So the better fight that he's in with, the better performance you get out of him, and he could come a cropper at some stage, you know. But we'll see. Jack, go on then. Talk to us about your conversation with Buddy McGirt, name dropping all the time. Jack.
Oh yeah, only time I've ever met him. But like, I was up at a show in December, and one of the lads from Matt Jobs' gym was Callum's sparring partner for when he had the world title eliminator.
Yep.
So Buddy and him became friends. So Buddy came down to watch him when he fought Mendy, and I was just talking to him, and they don't tell you what they're going to do or anything, but he just seemed quietly confident, which kind of makes me think that they've at least got a game plan that they're going to stick to beat Beterbiev. Whether or not that game plan works, I don't know, but I actually make Smith a slight favourite in this fight. It's a very 50-50 fight, but if I had to put money on someone, I'd probably put it on Smith, because although the punch is the last thing to go, you've got to be able to. If Smith goes into a boxing match with Beterbiev, I'm not sure Beterbiev has the legs anymore to go and have a boxing match with someone. I think he needs to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Which he's never needed to do before. I know he has got knockout power, and he always has had, but I don't think he's ever needed to get rid of someone. I don't think he could outbox Callum Smith. I think he will have to get rid of him. If he's going to beat him, I think he'll have to stop him. I don't think he can beat him on points.
What's your prediction then, Jack?
I'm going to go Smith points.
He's got to be. I tell you what, to get a points victory in Canada, Jack, he's got to be winning rounds really clearly, hasn't he?
Will be wide.
Yeah, but I think he will be. I just think. I think Beterbiev is going to come forward, and if it doesn't land and he doesn't get him out of there, I don't think he's going to be winning rounds. I don't think even in Canada, I reckon you could have the fight in his front room, and he might still get it scored against him, because I think his whole style will be he knows he has to get Callum Smith out of there to 100% win the fight. So I think that's what he's going to go in there and try and do. I don't think he's going to try and have a boxing match with Smith.
Going to be interesting to see how the first few rounds. Be interesting to see how the first couple of rounds pan out, because that might tell you the way the fight's going to go.
Well,
it will. If it gets to round 4 and it goes as I predict, then we're either going to see Beterbiev knock him out spectacularly, or he's going to get beat. And I think he will get beat.
Well, I'm not intrigued by it. I'm staying up for it.
Yeah, me as well, mate.
I mean, I'm debating that now.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no debate, Jack. I'll definitely be staying up for it.
Yeah,
Lots of coffee, I think.
Well, I'm debating.
Hakan, what time will? Hakan, what time's the fight shown in your hometown?
It's a 1 hour difference to the UK.
So about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I'm used to those times.
I think
I'm
I've seen you on
loads of Saturday night boxing.
Hakan, I think I've seen you on social media. You're
Yeah,
like Scandinavia somewhere, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm from Sweden.
I think we've spoke on Twitter before, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I have you on my Twitter.
Yeah. Because I see
you
sometimes
might want to remove it, I can, because he's talked some nonsense.
But I am able to name drop now. I've got to that level, which is nice.
You mean you've got one?
Yeah, I'll admit that. I haven't got that many, so.
Okay, guys. It's obviously going to be an amazing fight. We're all gonna watch it by the sounds of it. It'd be very interesting to see what pans out from that, because by all accounts, Beterbiev and Bivol has already been signed. I mean, Daz touched on it a bit ago. That's the most disrespectful thing in boxing, surely.
There's nothing new, though, is it? I mean, let's have it right. Deontay Wilder signed to fight AJ. It doesn't mean it's going to happen.
No.
So,
no.
I mean, that's a jinx, though. If you sign a fight beforehand, it's an old boxing jinx, and Daz will agree with me. If you sign for the next fight before you've had this one, you generally end up losing. Because it seems to happen every time.
Just added pressure in it that's not really needed. That's all.
Well, you're doing Callum Smith. You're doing Buddy McGirr's job, because I was just saying to Callum Smith, this guy thinks you're that much of a joke. He's already arranged to fight Bivol. Get his head off. Job done. As
we've just touched on AJ, let's go there now. Let's talk about that now. So obviously, Anthony Joshua looked a million times better in his last fight. I was expecting him to move on and fight and eliminate it for a world title, but it seems money talks, and he's now fighting Francis Ngannou.
There was no eliminators going to be ordered before March anyway, so all he's doing is having a fight in the middle. I don't really care about. I don't really mind, because the WBA can't order till March at the earliest. The IBF aren't going to order anything until they know the situation with Fury, because it might be for a vacant title. WBC aren't going to do anything till Fury tells them to, and then that leaves the WBO, and they've already got Zhilei Zhang in position, haven't they? So
do you think this is the right?
Till March anyway.
Do you think this is the right fight for Ngannou then, Jack?
For Ngannou, yeah, it's a great payday.
What about AJ?
Bit of a weird fight, but if he wants to do it, fine. I mean, I personally would have picked Ajit Kabayel, but anyway.
Why though? Where's the money in that?
Because the whole US interest, and he's now Top Rank's great hope, apparently.
But there's no money in it, is there?
Well, there is.
The answer's no, Jack. I'll wait for your chance.
There is more money in the Ngannou fight. I'll give you that. Yeah.
So and like you say, he'll pick the IBF route up in March. So he's just a treading water fight, which is going to pay him a lot of money.
The question I've got though, if Ngannou, and I'm not saying he will, by the way, before anyone jumps on me about this, if Ngannou beats him because it's heavyweights and one punch can change everything, does that mean Ngannou's going to end up fighting Hrgovic for the world title in his third fight? Because in which case he's going to equal Lomachenko if he wins.
I don't think we'll have to worry about that.
I know, but I kind of want it to happen a little bit in the back of my mind. I don't, but at the same time, I'd find it really funny.
I think Anthony's gonna.
I think AJ.
Anthony's gonna show the sport the respect it deserves and train properly.
Yeah.
And I think Anthony will demolish him.
Let's have it right. It's one-upmanship on Fury at the minute.
Exactly.
He went in and blasted.
That's the only reason he's doing it.
He's going to go in and blast Ngannou out, and then he's making up ground in terms of his reputation. Let's be honest.
Yeah, basically.
Then he's going to say that's how it's done.
Yeah.
Hakan. What did you make of the Tyson Fury that turned up and fought Ngannou?
I was away that weekend, so I have just seen parts of the fight, to be honest. And I wasn't up for that fight at all.
Well,
you've seen, yeah. I mean, you've obviously seen the social media stuff with his old man saying that he didn't train at all, he didn't have a proper camp, and you've got Tyson Fury himself saying he had a full 12-week camp, and he felt better than ever. I mean, surely, if that's the case, then are we looking at a Tyson Fury on the decline?
Yeah, maybe.
But do you actually believe a word that comes out of John Fury's mouth?
Well, why would you've never heard him go completely against Tyson like that before, Jack?
Well, you have.
It's always
That's true.
Not on that level, Carl.
When he was under Ben Davison, he went in quite hard, saying he was as weak as a kitten. So he has. He
went in on Ben Davison, but he never called out Tyson for not training.
He said he had yes men around him. So he does like to get the column inches, old John Fury, don't he? So I do tend to think that he'd take it with a pinch of salt a little bit.
Hakan,
yeah.
Let me go back to Hakan because he didn't get to finish his thing. Hakan, obviously Tyson's done what he's done against Ngannou. Everyone's now thinking Ngannou's this next coming of an amazing heavyweight. What's your opinion of how the AJ fight goes against Ngannou?
I believe AJ wins fairly easy. I go with stoppage, round 5, round 6.
Nice.
And I can see why Eddie Hearn wants to have the Ngannou fight. Like the Ottawa Lean fight, he wants to show Fury that Joshua has done much better against Ngannou too. Then,
yeah, well, yeah, I agree with you. I think AJ is going to look $1 million in this fight. Ngannou's not got great movement by that first fight. He's very robotic. Let's see how it pans out. Daz, let's get a prediction off you then, seeing as though Hakan's just given one.
Yeah, I don't go past 4 rounds for me.
Carl?
Yeah, I'm going to go about 7. I think he's a durable guy who's used to getting elbowed and kneed in the head. So I think he's going to have a bit of durability. So I'm going to go 7.
How about you, Jack?
I'm going to go the latest of everyone. I'm going to say he's going to take him all the way to the 9th round, but I do think Joshua stops him.
I'm going to go with along the same lines of Hakan. I actually think AJ wants to make a massive statement here. He's got the bit between his teeth at the minute. He looked spectacular is the wrong word, but he looked 1,000,000 times better than we've seen him for a lot of years in that last fight. It's going to be interesting to see with AJ what happens in his training department, because if I was him, I'd stick with Ben Davison, because Ben spent 2 months, 3 months maximum with him, and look at the difference in the way AJ's approached that fight. Why would you go back? Why would you go back to America to a trainer that clearly wasn't getting the best out of you when you've got Ben Davison doing what he's doing? Daz, you being a coach, mate, you know the way fighters tick. You know the way they think.
I didn't know you was, Dad. Oh, I wonder why you kept hanging around boxing.
No,
I just like the fact you've retired him, because you said being a coach.
I just wing it, don't I? I don't know what I'm on about. I just wing it.
I just like the fact you've retired him.
I haven't retired him at all.
You said being a coach.
I says you being a coach.
Jack put it on him, love, due to his vocab. Go on, Jack.
Daz, break it down for us then. What would you do if you was in AJ's shoes? Would you stay with Ben Davison in the UK, or would you go back to the States?
I mean, judging performance-wise on the performances he had under Derek James and the performance he had under Ben, obviously Ben was the better performance. I don't know, mate. There's only AJ that can answer that. Listen, you might see a situation where Ben and Derek work together.
He's done it with Haney, hasn't Devin Haney.
Yeah, you might see that. I mean, and listen, if they can work together, two brains is always better than one if they're compatible. Listen, I don't think it's rocket science that you have AJ being aggressive behind the jab. I don't think that takes a genius to work out. But like AJ said himself, you need the person to be able to convey it to you right. And like
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, and like some fighters will want you to say, listen, Garrett Dunos, you're gonna lose, you're gonna not do it, you're gonna do this and other. But then other fighters would prefer you to say, listen, this is what you need to do because this will happen if you do it. It's all about sort of knowing the fighter. And I do give Ben credit. His fighter trainer skills are quite good. He does seem to be able to convey it. I'm not saying he's any better or any worse than Derek James, but maybe he's a better fit for AJ, judging by that fight. But however, we don't know what. Listen, I mean, apparently, as far as I heard, Ben was working with him, something to do with Derek not being able to fly over or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so we don't know that Derek wasn't actually having a part to play in it as well.
Let's be honest, Daz. Derek James must be adding something, or AJ would have bombed him out by now.
Yeah, of course he is, mate. Of course he's adding something. Yeah, of course he's adding something, and he may have been still having an input.
Yeah,
so it's we don't know, do we?
Another trainer thought is Ben Davison only had a short period of time with AJ, so how much could he have influenced really in that short time? If you want to play devil's advocate,
yeah, I mean, like I said, getting AJ to box the way he boxed is AJ's bread and butter. Aggressive behind a solid jab, and it doesn't take a genius to work out that's AJ's best method. But listen, there's only three people know what the situation is, and that's Derek James, Ben Davison, and AJ.
Yeah.
But if they work together and that sort of, I mean, let's be fair and all. Walling was, he wasn't great.
Awful is a word.
I mean, he was flattered a bit by the Fury.
He was flattered by the fact that Fury got cut.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean,
and you could argue that Fury didn't prepare. It looked like he didn't prepare awfully well for that fight.
No, I mean, let's say that he fights Ngannou. Let's not judge him on that either. I mean, if he blasts Ngannou out, then yeah, great. That's what you're supposed to do. If you don't, then people are going to say, "Oh yeah, he should have got rid of him."
And if he gets beat by Ngannou, we're getting Ngannou versus Hrgovic, and
I don't think we have to worry about that. But I think we need to have AJ in with. Listen, even though I think he'd demolish him, have him in with an Hrgovic or a Caballel. Have him in with someone with a bit of ambition. Do you know what I mean? Who genuinely believes they can win.
Hrgovic is tailor-made for AJ, though.
Yeah, he is. I've said this all along.
But he'll come to win. Hrgovic will come to win. So, that's what we need to see AJ in. We need to see him in with an opponent that believes he's going to win.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see his heart check next time he gets put on his arse.
I'd even like to see him in against Zhang.
Yeah.
I'd like that fight.
He'll let his hands go, wouldn't he?
Yeah, Zhang would have no fear whatsoever. Zhang would truly believe he could win, and that for me would be a good warm up before.
But I agree. We should calm down a little bit before we start. Thinking it's Anthony Joshua 2.0. Let's just wait till he gets in with an active fighter.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
What I was impressed with, Carl, and it's something that I haven't seen in AJ for quite some time, and that was a really sharp jab. It's clearly something that whether it's Ben Davison or whether it's Derek James, that's clearly been the priority in camp. And then, as Daz always says, everything off the jab.
The last
Everything
time
that
I saw
AJ
him be like that was Povetkin.
Yeah, but even in that fight, Jack, he wasn't aggressive really with Povetkin until he got Povetkin hurt, and then he jumped on him.
Yeah, I meant that's the last time I saw him use the jab as a proper sharp jab.
Yeah.
Boxing's
but yeah, I agree with you. He wasn't really aggressive in that.
You know, boxing's not hard. It's not rocket science. You work everything off a jab, you will make life so much easier for yourself. And you know, it's same as they say. Listen, straight shots get there before hooks. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying people shouldn't use hooks, but it's just a natural fact. It's your jab sets everything up. You work off a jab, and you make things so much easier for yourself. But what people misconstrue with that is they think that every jab has got to be a rock solid ramrod. You can vary it. Your jab can be a light to set up a big shot. It can be, light then hard to set up another shot. Listen, you can fighters that vary the variations of the jab. Are harder to beat.
Hakan, you've heard what everyone said about what AJ should do next. Obviously, this is what we all think it is. It's a cash grab, and it should be a fairly easy night's work for AJ. Looks like the heavyweight belts are at least going to be held up for 2 fights because
one fight because the IBF will come off after the first one. They've already said that.
So there's a possibility.
Fury will dump it anyway. You don't want the IBF.
Fury doesn't want the IBF, and even if he did, if Usyk activates the rematch clause, then the IBF are stripping them the minute.
Which is fair enough because the belts have been held up for too long. So the likelihood is, I'll come back to you, mate. The likelihood is,
Andy, just before you go to Hakan, I will say, and I'll put it on record. Fury Usyk will not happen on the 17th of February. Someone's going to pull out with an injury.
You think?
Yeah.
You've heard what I've heard then.
Quiet. You what, Jack?
You suspect what I suspect then.
Well, how quiet has it been? You know what I mean? A fight of that magnitude, it's not really had as much of a push as I'd have thought.
It hasn't gone mental, which is... There's something not right there.
I think it'll be Fury that pulls out.
See, I think I just because Fury's posted footage and Usyk hasn't, and Usyk normally does.
Usyk has.
He has.
I hadn't seen any
kettlebells the other day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but I saw that. But I mean, I've not seen any boxing footage from Usyk, and I don't know anyone who's been in his camp at all.
He's not injured. He's not injured because he wouldn't have been able to do what he was doing with them kettlebells.
No. Was he doing mad stuff with kettlebells? Because he does do crazy stuff. Fair enough. Because I was starting to worry he was getting injured because you don't see anything.
I think Fury is going to pull. So sorry, Hakan.
Yeah. Okay. I have a take on the Riyadh season that finished March 9. Do you believe that we will see a separate Riyadh show between March 9 and late October?
Well, you got Ramadan to work through, haven't you? So they'll shut down for Ramadan.
Yeah, I know.
It seems they seem quite strict, Hakan. They seem quite strict on that shutdown period. It's like nothing happens, and if that first if what Daz is saying and the Fury Usyk fight doesn't happen and it gets postponed, it won't happen till the end of the year.
I'll be surprised if it don't happen, Dad, purely because that's closing the Riyadh season. So I'm not sure they'd want to jump out of bed with the Saudis.
Between what I suspect is going to happen, and I don't know this for a fact or anything, but I do know a few people have talked about there being dates there that between March and is it November that Riyadh season starts or October? Somebody
Late October.
right.
Yeah, late
Between
October.
that time, you will see big fight cards in Dubai.
Right.
Because I suspect, just because of a couple of dates that have randomly appeared on BoxRec that have no promoter, nothing, just says Dubai, like Middle East Boxing Commission. I suspect there's going to be a few big cards in Dubai for those in sort of August, September time before they go back to Saudi.
Or Abu Dhabi.
And Matchroom still have that deal with Dubai as well to do 3 cards a year.
And Abu Dhabi too.
That's same sort of area, isn't it? Like
yes.
And Bahrain and places like
that. Maybe Bahrain. Why? Are you thinking of putting one on there, Carl?
No, I just know that's across the border. I've got a few friends who work in Saudi Arabia, and they go over to Bahrain to party. So because it's not a dry state. So there you go. That's a bit of geographical knowledge for you.
Fair play. My brother lives in Dubai, but I couldn't tell you where anywhere was around it. So fair play.
Hakan, back to the question I was trying to ask you a bit ago, and that's if these belts are held up, apart from the IBF, is that the route the obvious route you see AJ going?
I think that AJ goes for the vacant IBF next after the Ngannou fight.
Do you see that as an easy win for AJ against Ergovic?
Yes, fairly easy. He should win that fight. So to get the 3-time world champion.
And then that's when I think that's when he started talking about AJ versus Fury when he's picked that IBF belt up. As long as he beats Usyk, I think that could possibly happen back end of this year during the next Riyadh season festival.
Yeah, I think slightly differently, Carl. I think Usyk will, if he loses, he'll definitely activate the rematch clause. That'll happen at the end of the year, and then the AJ Fury fight, if it ever happens, would be, in my opinion, would be the start of the next season or the end of
that much money. Though they could well say to Mr. Usyk, we'll give you this big bag of money to step aside and let's get that on.
It won't happen. That won't happen, mate.
I don't think Usyk.
No chance.
I think if Usyk loses, I think he'll do the Fury rematch and then retire.
Yeah,
regardless whether he wins or not.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think Fury the same. I don't think beyond those 2 fights they'll fight again. Fury might for the AJ fight, but Fury, I've given up trying to predict what Fury does. I can see a situation that by the end of next year we've got completely different world champions and all the belts are fragmented again.
That's a possibility as well, Jack. Depending on what all the governing bodies decide to do. It's an interesting time for the heavyweight division. It needs to, in my opinion, it needs to be fragmented because it's gone stale as a division. It needs to be reawakened, and that's only going to happen if more belts are fought for on a regular basis. So here's to that happening at some point. Undisputed's got to happen before that, though, for certain. Right, guys.
2025, we will end up with, if neither of them get beat between now and then, we'll end up with Daniel Dubois versus Martin Bakole for the world title. Because Bacole's number 1 with the WBA, and somehow Dubois will end up being back up with the WBA. Because he always seems to be, and I have no idea why. Not that I'm slagging Daniel Dubois off, I just don't know how he keeps getting ranked by them.
So I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to be leaving at 8 p.m. So I'm quite keen to jump onto the Leigh Wood topic, Andy. So shall we move on to the Leigh Wood?
Yeah. Let's talk Leigh Wood next. So obviously there's been a lot going off on social media. I think all of us in this show tonight have had our comments on who we think Leigh Wood might fight next, and is it actually going to be at the City Ground? Because Eddie Hearn and Leigh Wood have both.
Don't know. Forest need to pull the finger out. It's outrageous.
Eddie Hearn and Leigh Wood have both said they've agreed all terms. It's sat with Forest. I don't know what the stumbling block is. They've always said that.
I do. It's the fact that there's a concert the week after, and they're worried about the time frame.
Right. Okay.
But Frostgrove too, there was an England game 48 hours before.
Hang on, just a minute, lads. Just give me a minute. So, this is relevant. Come here.
Okay.
Hurry up. This is relevant, believe it or not.
Right, this could go anywhere.
This is relevant. Trust me.
Okay.
Come here. Come here. No, come here. No, you need to show your face. Just come here. Put your head in. Right. Leigh Wood v Warrington at City Ground. Right?
Yeah.
The stumbling block is what, Andy?
The stumbling block is Forest haven't agreed the fight.
No, what's happening after?
A concert.
Yeah, whose concert is it?
That, isn't it?
Take that.
Who is it?
Take that.
Oh, right now I see the relevance.
Well, blame saddos like this for buying bloody tickets.
Really? Oh no, that's it. I'm done. Don't talk to me again.
Listen. Ask her how many times she's going to watch Take That this year.
Oh my days.
2. One to soak up the atmosphere, and 1 to listen to the music. So,
oh my life.
So plebs like this is why Leigh Wood Wellington's not happening.
I think, guys, money talks. The fight will happen.
Your fault.
The fight will happen.
Out.
Okay, now I understand the relevance.
You're going to pay for that after, Daz. Daz is giving it a big camera. Wait afterwards.
I mean, he's sleeping on the sofa now, isn't he? Let's be honest.
So obviously, it's Leigh Wood's. That's Leigh Wood's last goal. It wouldn't surprise me if he fights this fight and retires. Having said that, there's always that lure of a second weight world title. Everybody seems to think that the Josh Warrington fight is an absolute signed no-brainer. Eddie Hearn wants it, yes. I don't think Leigh Wood's bothered. I don't think he feels like he needs closure on that fight. He got closure in the first fight. If it wasn't Warrington, Jack, who would you go with?
There's a few. Well, I've got a vested interest in one of them, so I'm not going to say him.
Go on, then. You can't say that and then not say.
No.
Well, because I want it to be Tommy Ward, but it won't be because he won't sell out the venue.
No chance.
What?
Who's
you
that?
don't sell enough
Tommy
tickets.
Ward. I wanted it to be him because he was going to be mandatory for Wood, but the odds of that happening are slim to nil. I'd if I had the
Tommy
choice.
Ward beat Leigh Wood.
Not in a million years.
Unlikely, because he probably would get caught.
Let's some airy fairyland, Jack, because he ain't going to shift no tickets, and let's start talking about people.
Well, to be fair, he shifted 3,000 in Newcastle more than Richmond.
What in the City Ground, 3,000 don't do nothing, does it?
Well, no, but Wood shifts a ton in the City Ground because it's the City Ground.
Yeah, but you don't
anyway,
fit it.
moving on from that point, who would I like to see? Because I mean, he's fought everyone I really want. Because I wanted Lara. I mean, Jack, he's moved up weight. Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking, who would I want to see?
Can I jump in why Jack thinks about it?
Yeah, go on.
So there's 2 options, and one doesn't want it anyway. So there's Joe Cordine, who's going to fill the stadium, or there's Josh Warrington. So it's going to be one of the 2. Eddie Hearn prefers Josh Warrington anyway, because it's going to shift the tickets. So although we don't want it to be Josh Warrington, it's nailed on. It's going to be Josh Warrington. And why?
Well, you said if it wasn't Warrington, so that's why I was.
But what I'm saying is nonsense.
Yeah,
it won't be Cordine because he's looking elsewhere. It'll be Warrington. And why do you think they're having this little spat that they're having on social media? It's because he's setting this all up for this fight. So the only reason this fight doesn't happen between Wood and Warrington is if Forest don't deliver. Full stop.
Fair. I mean, I'll watch it again. I'm
It'll be
not.
a good fight. It'll be a good fight.
Thing
Yeah.
is though, Warrington, right? He had a decent spell in fight, and then that must be the only lucky 5-punch combination I've ever seen in history.
That's from a commercial perspective, which is Eddie Hearn is looking at, isn't he? If he's taking him to the City Ground, he wants to fill it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Leigh Wood, Warrington were beating Wood, right?
Yeah,
But it's like, to call that lucky shot, there were 5 of them.
Yeah.
So guys, couple of comments in the sidebar, and then we'll get back on it. Imran says Callum Smith gets knocked out by Beterbiev. He's also put fight Joe Cordina. And then we've got Darren Aston. Welcome to the show, Darren. He's put Wood versus Warrington 2 will be on. I was just playing devil's advocate, Cole, to be honest with you. Because obviously the obvious choice is Warrington because of the Forest and Leeds connections. It sells the ground out, absolutely no problem at all. But in my opinion, so does Joe Cordina, because it's not that becomes an England versus Wales. I mean, that's a giant fight.
I just think Cordina's looking elsewhere, though. You know, Eddie.
Can I think that Cordina is to fight Kakash in Saudi now.
Yeah.
I've heard that as well. I can.
Yeah, I heard this.
So the Cordina fights is out of the picture.
I've heard that the Cordina fight is potentially on the undercard of Ngannou and Joshua. So
yes.
So if that's the case, then there's no way it's going to be Cordina.
Yeah, everything points to Wood versus Warrington, don't it? Warrington hasn't got anywhere else to go either, which is going to pay him the money that this fight is. Let's be honest.
Okay, Carl. If that is the case, if that is looks like it's pretty much bang on, don't it? So I'm going to ask everybody this question, but I'll come to you first, Akan. What does Josh Warrington do, or can Josh Warrington do anything different from the first fight to change the ending of the fight? Can he do anything different in this second fight to beat Leigh Wood?
I believe he has a chance. I was ringside at the first fight, and I felt that Josh Warrington had a very good fight until the stoppage. He was leading 2-3 rounds on the card. So I think he has a good chance, and I like the fight. I know a lot of people don't like it, the rematch, but I love it.
There's a lot of needle there. I've got no problem with the rematch at all. They're both great lads, by the way. They're both great lads. I know they're having a bit of back and forth on social media, but there's
it's pantomime to build the fight.
There's respect there, though, isn't there? In reality, there's respect there. That first fight went exactly how I expected it to. Josh Warrington can only fight, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. He fights one way. He's a warrior. He stands in the pocket and he throws lots of punches. Now, when he was a younger fighter and he could soak up a bit more punishment, that worked perfectly fine against the likes of Frampton, who wasn't a massive puncher. That worked perfectly fine, and he out punched fighters to win fights. The problem you've got with Leigh Wood is he's got heavy hands, and it was always going to happen. If Josh stood in that pocket for too long, Leigh was going to catch him. And that's exactly the way the fight panned out.
He ran out of gas. He ran out of gas. That's the truth. He ran out of gas. And then maybe if he moves up in weight, he might have a bit more stamina. So it might be even more of an intriguing fight. But I ultimately think Leigh Wood chins him in the end.
Go on.
Jack?
Yeah.
How do you see the fight going? Do you think Josh Warrington can turn it around?
I just think it's going to be a repeat. I think I agree with you and with Andy, where you just said with you and Carl, where you say Wood's going to catch him in the end, and I think unless Warrington's got a time machine to take himself back to having that ironclad chin, he's going to get knocked out again.
Carl, do you want to pick those Carl, do you want to pick those comments up in the sidebar before I come down?
Imran says, "Yeah, do what he did first fight. He was dominating up until he got chinned." Darren Aston says, Warrington has to basically do what he done in the first fight. Easier said than done. Just not get caught. I believe Warrington can come in and win the rematch at Forest. He's a better boxer than Wood." And then Darren goes on to say that he wants Wood to win, by the way. Just can see Warrington winning the rematch. We thought he's from Derby for a minute, and does.
I was just wondering if he wants to get off that fence, because there must be so many splinters.
Wow, Jack, you're in the mood tonight, aren't you, Jack?
Yeah.
It's got it right on him, hasn't it? Daz, having heard that comment in the sidebar, mate, what's your opinion?
I don't think Warrington's a better boxer than Wood, for one.
No, I don't.
No.
Listen, I think I said it before they fought. I think Wood beats the best version of Warrington anyway, all day long.
I think that's a closer fight.
Yeah, maybe so, but I still think Leigh wins. I mean, listen, I think in the rematch, Leigh Wood wasn't great in this first fight, let's be honest. So Leigh he wasn't great. Josh Warrington fought probably best for a few rounds that he's ever fought for a long time. So what happens when Josh Warrington's not going to be any better than that? Leigh Wood's going to be better. So yeah. I think he beats him quicker, to be fair.
So Darren in the sidebars is a Villa fan, Carl.
Yeah.
Bring in Darren to the show.
Yeah, I mean, Darren, if you want to jump on, I'm about to vacate, but if you want to jump on, I'll post a link. Villa fans are welcome on this show.
Stick the link in the sidebar then, Carl.
Yeah, will do.
Yeah, it's very intriguing, in my opinion. Josh Warrington's got to be given respect. He's an absolute warrior. What he's done in the ring, there's not many fighters in his division fought the way he fights and done it for as long as he's done it at the highest level. So you've got to give him respect for that.
He's one. And by the way, when I say that he can't win unless he's got a time machine, that's not any disrespect to him as a fighter, because for everything he's done, the reason I believe that is because of the hard fights he's been in.
I mean, the way I look at it is like this, right? The way I look at it is like this. Leigh Wood absolutely killed himself in the last 2 or 3 fights to get down to feather. Absolutely killed himself. You could see he had nothing left on weigh-ins. You could see, but then he turns it around within 24 hours. Looks like King Kong couldn't knock him out.
I'll tell you who it reminded me of when I used to see him at weigh-ins, when Ritson was making lightweight and he looked like he was about to pass out on the scales.
Yeah.
Wood was the same.
It was an awkward watching Sheffield because he clearly, he didn't have much in the tank when he got on them scales.
No, and he's not denied any of that. He'll say it himself. The thing that Warrington needs to be worried about is if that's what Leigh Wood can do when he's weight drained, imagine what he can do when he's not.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll leave it at that, because Josh Warrington can't fight another way, and that's not a slight on him. He's an absolute warrior, but like I've just said, but he can't fight another way. He stands in the pocket and he throws lots and lots and lots and lots of punches.
The one thing I would say to counter that is Warrington didn't exactly look healthy at the weight.
No, but he did it much easier than Leigh Wood did.
I mean, he looked healthier than Leigh Wood.
Yeah, he's got much more miles on the clock, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Warrington, where Wood's a bit fresher, isn't he? He's had this brilliant run late on in his career. So, he's a bit fresher.
Wood Wood had a run in his career that no one saw coming. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and more. I mean, he's one of our own, so I'm going to say this, but you know, he's right up there, isn't he, in terms of go motoring through the levels like he has done, and to jump
Crazy.
in with Richo Lara when Lara's coming overweight. You know, how much bollocks did that take?
I mean, I feared for him when he decided to do that because I thought this is going to end really badly because Lara was overweight and it was just.
And then he went on to put a clinic on as well.
Yeah, and you were like, oh, okay, but
Is that somebody waiting in the?
Yeah, just bear with me. So I'm going to jump up now, guy, and
Good evening, mate. How are you?
Good evening,
mate,
Darren.
good, thanks. Oh yeah, you're all right, Akan?
I'm good.
Oh yeah.
So Darren, break down how you think this fight goes then, because you seem to be the only person thinks Warrington's going to win that second fight.
Well, I went to the first fight, and when I went on the Steve Speback show, I said I fancied Josh Warrington to beat Leigh Wood on points.
Yeah,
and that's how I thought it was going to go, and it didn't happen to be. But I definitely could see him coasting to a points victory till he got caught. And I think the thing with Josh Warrington is, he's had enough experience in the ring. I think he can. I know Leigh Wood always seems to find the punch, but I think he can adapt to change what basically he dropped his hands, didn't he? And I think he can win on points in the rematch.
Do you think, because obviously he stands without being said, but he's obviously moving up as well. Do you think he's going to have a bit more energy in the tank then? Well, being at a new weight.
Well, that's the unknown thing. I mean, I'd like to think so. I think they'll both be okay. Leigh Wood, obviously, he's a big puncher anyway, and he's definitely a bigger puncher than Josh Warrington. So obviously the power is going to always be with Leigh Wood over Josh. I mean, the thing is, Josh Warrington hit Leigh Wood with everything he could hit him with, and he couldn't put him away. That's the thing that might be in Leigh Wood's head, thinking, well, I can take his best shots. But I don't know. I've just got a feeling Josh Warrington might be able to win a points victory in the rematch.
What do you think that Josh does differently then? Because you've heard what I've just said, that Josh fights one way, stands in the pocket, and you can't do that with a puncher, because Leigh's only got to time that one shot, and that's exactly what happened. He timed that first hook, and then the combination come off it.
Well, I don't think in the first fight Leigh Wood could actually take the hassle that Josh Warrington was giving him when he was standing in front of him. Shots were coming from everywhere. And maybe like Leigh Wood might adapt differently to that next time. But I just think Josh Warrington, his style was wrong for Leigh Wood. And Leigh Wood did manage to find the shot. But I think Josh Warrington's style is what is wrong for Leigh Wood. And it's hard to say that because of the, Leigh Wood stopped him in the end. But I think Josh Warrington just has to stay out of trouble. I think he can do it next time.
Daz, what's your opinion on that?
Do you know what? It's possible because, as much as what Leigh were wagering, I think Josh were as well. So, Josh could have that extra energy. I have to stick to it though. I have to stick to fact. I think that Leigh beats Josh prime for prime. I've always thought that. So I have to stick to that. But, it could be a lot on the weight issue. If Josh were more, just because what we saw on scales don't mean that Josh weren't more weight drained than what Leigh were. We don't know what's going on.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you, mate.
He looked worse. Leigh looked worse.
Yeah.
Leigh did look worse. But we don't know what's going on inside.
No, true. Granted.
Yeah,
all I would say,
I do think. Listen, I do think that Leigh beats Josh at both their best. Anyway, so all I'd say about that performance was that Leigh Wood looked like he had no legs. Yeah.
There was no movement at all, and that's why I think it was as easy. It seemed as easy as it was for Josh to bully Leigh around the ring, because Leigh couldn't get out of the way. There was nothing left in his legs.
Well, here's one for you then, just quickly. If the fight went the distance and Leigh Wood didn't manage to find that shot, how do you think the fight would go?
Oh, Josh Warrington won it on points, mate. He was clearly ahead. But Josh Warrington ran out of steam as well. I don't think he would have made 12 rounds.
Well,
he went at that fight that quick in them first few rounds. I think he went for broke, Warrington. I think he tried to stop Leigh Wood early.
Well, you know, the rematch didn't. If say the rematch, Leigh Wood didn't manage to find the shot. Do you think Warrington would win on points?
No, because I think Leigh Wood fights. I think Leigh Wood fights the second fight differently. He'll have legs as well because he won't be drained. But even so, like I've just said, Josh Warrington only has one style of fighting. I've never seen him fight a different way, and that's not a slight on him at all. I think he's outstanding. But because of that, he's given Leigh Wood so many opportunities to land that shot because he doesn't move out of the pocket.
Yeah, the one thing that might stay in Josh Warrington's head is, like I said, what would with Leigh Wood. You know, he did hit him with everything. He couldn't put him away.
Yeah.
So that is a factor as well, both ways.
So before we go off here, guys, there's one more topic I wanted to talk about. And it's something that Clarissa Shields posted on Twitter. I think it was yesterday or the day before. Now, Hakan's corrected me a little bit on this. So Clarissa Shields posted the ESPN's top 10 female fighters of the year. And it was the one she posted. The one she posted was actually 2022, wasn't it, Hakan?
Yes, and Mark Taffet tweeted that ranking October 2022 from ESPN.
Right. Okay. So you've now given me the correct ESPN top 10 ranking. So I'm gonna read these names out in the order that they are. So Clarissa Shields, number 1. Katie Taylor, number 2. Amanda Serrano, number 3. Chantel Cameron, number 4. Estrada, number 5. Michaela Mayer, number 6. Savannah Marshall, 7. Jessica McCaskill, 8. Tasha Jonas, 9. And Delphine Pursoon, number 10. Now, it's a little bit different to the 22 ranking, but not a lot. I lost my plot when I saw those rankings.
There's a couple of people missing from there.
There's a couple of people missing, but there's also an absolute elephant in the room in Jessica McCaskill that got her ass handed to her in the last 2 fights she's been in against English fighters.
Oh yeah,
how is she in the top 10 of any rankings?
I kind of just overlooked the fact she was in that.
I can't understand that.
What number's Michaela Mayer?
Michaela Mayer is number 6.
Too high.
Tasha Jonas, 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming Baumgardner's not in it because of the drugs thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. She was high up in the rankings.
So my top 10, I would not have McCaskill and Pursoon. I think Delphine Pursoon hasn't fought any decent for a while.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I will have in my
everyone
top 10.
Choose the top 5.
Say that again.
Everyone choose the top 5.
All right. You go first then, Hakan.
Yeah, in my top 10, the 2 names I want to have is Joka Vaje and Dina Torsland.
Good shot.
Yeah, so Sorsland's a shout. I would 100% agree with you on that.
Jack, your top 5, Jack.
Top 5. All right, okay. I'm gonna be a little bit controversial here. I'm as much as she's blocked me on Twitter, I'm gonna have Clarissa at 1.
Behave, Jack.
What?
Behave, mate.
Well, only because going into the because Katie and Chantel have beaten each other. That's my point. Clarissa hasn't lost. Katie and Chantel have beaten each other.
Let's be fair, though. Look at the resumes, mate.
Oh,
Katie
yeah.
Taylor's resume.
Katie's resume is amazing. Don't get me wrong. That's why I do it, and I'm being fair to her because I don't. Katie 2, Chantel 3, 4 for me is Maya, and then
What?
And then 5 Serrano.
Yeah, Cole, drop that off, mate. That's the 2022. That's not the correct one.
22 too.
Go on then, Daz.
Okay, my top 5 then.
Oh, sorry. Go on, I can.
I have Katie Taylor at number 1.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I'm a big fan of Katie. I have been to Katie Taylor's 3 biggest fights: Serrano in New York and the Cameron fights in Dublin, all 3. And I think she has fought much more decent opponents than Clarissa. That's the reason why I have Katie Taylor as number 1. And number 2, Shields. Number 3, Serrano. Number 4, Cameron. And number 5, it's more hard. Sorry.
Natasha Jonas, maybe?
No, further down.
Oh, okay.
The one...
Maybe...
what about Franchon Cruz Discern? Or maybe because of her last victory?
No.
No?
Nah.
Maybe...
Good win, the last one.
Yes.
Yeah, but no.
Now, my number 5 is probably Estrada.
See, I could understand that. Because Estrada would definitely be in my top 10.
You want me to go
Darren, what's yours, mate?
No,
the other Darren.
Yeah,
the new Darren to the show. You can wait, Daz.
Go on
then. Probably go Katie Taylor, Cameron, or Serrano. Probably go Cameron, Serrano. Probably have Clarissa Shields in there in the top 5. And then I'd probably go Natasha Jonas in the top,
that's
very low. The
5.
top, yeah. For activity levels and that, yeah, I would, yeah.
Daz?
Right, I'd have number 5, Sandy Ryan.
Oh, yeah, good shout.
I'm a big fan of Sandy's, so
yeah.
I actually have championed Sandy a lot. But
you really rate her, don't you?
Yeah, well, yes, mate.
I mean, she is good. She is very good.
Yeah. I'd have Sandy Ryan at 5. Yeah, I'd probably have Chantel Cameron at 4. Serrano 3. Katie Taylor 2. And Nicola Oatwell number 1. I'm only joking. No, I'm only joking. Yeah. Sandy Ryan at 5. Did I say 4?
Chantel Cameron, you said
Chantel.
Yeah, Chantel Cameron at 4. Serrano 3. I like Estrada, me. I really do. But
it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll change I'll put Estrada in at 3, Serrano 2, Katie Taylor 1.
So you haven't got
So
Shields.
Clarissa Shields doesn't make your top 5.
No, I'll tell you why. Because Savannah Marshall, yeah. Savannah Marshall. A buzzer like you don't agree.
That wasn't me. That must be Cole.
Yeah, no. Listen. Savannah Marshall was, didn't put in a great performance. Shields, yeah, she does what she does. But who she fought? I don't think you can compare her to Katie Taylor. I don't think there's any comparison whatsoever. You know what I mean? Well, come on then, Carl. Come back on. You're telling me that Clarissa Shields has got a better resume than Katie Taylor?
Not in a million years.
Paul, listen, you've got to take the thingy factor as well. I know we're talking about boxing ability, but who she be? Yeah, listen, she's unbeaten. But apart from Savannah Marshall, who seems like she's never going to fight again, who she be? Listen, I might be one of the only people on planet that's not unimpressed 100% by her. I do think she's she has got skills, but she doesn't wow me.
She impressed me in the Chantal in the Savannah Marshall fight. I thought she brought another level there.
Yeah, but I also think that Savannah played into her hands.
Yeah, she did. You're right.
I agree with you on that.
To be fair.
So I'm gonna go slightly differently to you guys because I have a bit of a different take to Hakan and to Daz on Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor was handed massive help in that last fight against Chantal Cameron. She was never warned for the headbutt, which happened all fight long. The referee was poor, really, really, really poor. Now, Katie Taylor fought out of her skin, don't get me wrong, but as soon as you start taking points away from fighters for using the head, it becomes a completely different fight, and that's exactly what happened in the third fight. So, in my opinion, Chantal Cameron's higher up in the rankings than Katie Taylor.
Well, if Chantal beats her, then I will swap Chantal for Katie.
I think everyone would if she beats.
I think she was scuppered by the referee and scuppered by Katie Taylor's tactics. Now, it's not Katie Taylor's fault. The referee should have done something in that fight, and he never did it.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that a bit.
Yeah, I can see a bit like what you mean.
Can I before you go on there, just reply to Mr. Widdowson inside? Remember, we all held Marshall in high esteem when she beat her. Yeah, we did, and I was one of them who thought that Savannah was going to beat her. However, you cannot look at that fight and tell me that Savannah Marshall fought the best tactics Savannah Marshall could have fought in that fight.
No, she didn't.
He played straight into her hands, and that's not Shields' fault. But had Savannah touched her with the jab, then thrown the right hand left hook, and that's it. Shields for me would not have done anything. She wouldn't have had anything to counter. She could counter single shots all day. Had Marshall done that and not overcommitted, it would have been a stinker of a fight. But Marshall would have won on points because Shields would have been negative.
So here's my piece. I'm putting Chantal Cameron at number 1, and I'll tell you for why. She should be a 3-weight undisputed world champion. The fact of the matter is that she beat Jessica McCaskill at her own weight, and then she wanted to fight her at Jessica McCaskill's weight for her undisputed belts. She wouldn't have it. She didn't want it. She beats Katie Taylor at her own weight, and then she wanted to go down and fight Katie Taylor for the lightweight belts. Katie Taylor wouldn't have it. Now, what happened is what happened in that second fight. But like I say, it would have been a completely different story had the referee done his job. So because of that, I'm putting Chantal Cameron at number 1, and I'll get slaughtered for it. I know I will.
No, that's a good point.
I can see the
It would
point.
It would be interesting to see the third fight if it wasn't in Ireland, how it would go. But
Yeah, it's going to be though.
It's going to be.
I mean, that was the other
thing.
That was the other factor. That was the other factor. The fact of the matter is that Chantal Cameron went into a backyard and beat her, and then the next fight should have been in the UK, should have been in England, and it wasn't because Eddie Hearn was having none of it.
They were going to be really fair, but they're not.
Yeah, of course it should have. Of course it should have, but it wasn't. And Chantal Cameron wasn't even given that choice. It was either you fight in Ireland or you don't fight.
Can I just reply again?
Yeah.
To Carl and say, because he said I'd counter by saying Marshall just wasn't good enough to carry out instruction. Shields is levels above Marshall in my view. I think it's a bit harsh on Marshall because I think she did carry out instructions, and the instructions were the wrong tactics.
But the thing is, none of us have got Shields. The one thing I would say, and I actually do rate Shields, is even if that was the case, none of us have put Marshall in the top 5 anyway, so that win doesn't think. So I can almost see Daz's point, but I actually rate Shields as the best of a lot of them, so I'm not really.
You want to lay off at Source.
Right,
lads, I've got to jump off because we'll get ready for work in a minute.
Oh, have a good shift, pal.
Cheers, pal.
That's
been a
fun.
pleasure. See you all later.
So I'm going, lads. Chantal Cameron number 1. I'm going Amanda Serrano number 2, and I've gone with Serrano because I think she's leading the way for female fighting. The fact that she's been the first person to do 3 12-minute rounds speaks wonders.
Can somebody stop him with the buzzer?
Yeah. Cole's. He don't like the fact that people are giving their opinions, but he ain't jumping on and giving his, is it? So Chantal Cameron number 1.
He's
so childish,
toy, hasn't he?
She's just childish. Chantal Cameron number 1.
You're waiting, aren't you? Yeah.
Amanda Serrano number 2. Katie Taylor number 3. I'm going to go with Estrada number 4. And I'm going to go with I'm going to agree with Daz, and I'm going to put Sandy Ryan in at number 5 because she got absolutely robbed against McCaskill. She should be a unified world champion, and the next fight should have been undisputed. And she's been completely frozen out of the picture. McCaskill wants absolutely nothing to do with her because McCaskill wants nothing to do with her, mate. She's already made another fight. I can't remember who she's fighting now. Do you know, Hakan?
Yes, she's fighting Ivana Habas in Croatia.
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
In April.
That's right. So
that's ordered by I can't remember which organization, but that fight.
Oh, is it? I didn't realise it had been ordered.
That fight was ordered earlier before Terry Harper fought Habazin. As a replacement for Brackhouse when that fight first was.
Yeah.
And so that's the main reason why that fight has happened now.
If we were doing an all-time list, I'd have probably had Brackhouse on there, to be honest.
You can't bore in for female fighter of the year, though, can you, mate?
Because I mean, she hasn't done anything for a while.
So I hope and I think that it's a possibility that Sandy Ryan and Terry Harper fights maybe in Sheffield on the Dalton Smith card or at the Wood Warrington rematch undercard.
Yeah.
That's an absolutely outstanding fight, I can.
Either one of them cards.
There is some. I'm going to say something about someone Hakan mentioned earlier. I think, and she wouldn't make it in my top 5, but she would be in my top 10 when he was saying about Forsland.
Yeah.
And she would be in my top 10 because she's done a lot. And I'm gutted Bridges lost the world title because I really wanted to see that fight because styles make fights, and I think that would have been a great fight to watch.
Do you know what I'm really
I
struggling
think-
with in this top 10, Jack?
What?
I'm really struggling with obviously the obvious one, Jessica McCaskill. She should not be anywhere near the top 10.
Yeah.
I'm also struggling with Michaela Mayer because what she actually achieved.
Well, got robbed.
What she achieved,
Yeah.
but did she get? Did she get?
And
It was a very close fight, though, guys. She didn't get robbed.
I thought she beat Baumgartner though.
I
thought
did-
she
I
beat
did as well.
Gardner quite comfortably, to be honest.
I as well.
No, it wasn't
at that
comfortable.
show.
A fair few people thought she got it quite comfortably within boxing, which is kind of why before the drugs thing came out, Baumgartner wasn't getting offered big fights for that reason because people thought she got beat comfortably.
I don't know about comfortably. I had Michaela Mayer winning the fight, but it wasn't a massive. It wasn't a massive landslide or anything. But okay, that fight aside, Jack.
Yeah.
What's Michaela Mayer done since? Apart from move up 2 weights, what has she actually done?
Been the first person in 5 years to beat Lucy Wilder, but then I suppose Nicholson kind of proved that wasn't actually as good of a win as it looked at the time.
Exactly. So
yeah, I realised it after I said it, and then I realised.
So I mean, so that might be a different case. Come the end of the fight with Natasha Jonas, I might be thinking differently about Mayer, but I'm not thinking that about her right now. For last year's fighter of the year, for the top 10 fighter of the year, I don't understand how she makes the top 10. I don't get it.
Who do you think
it's like
Mayer and Jonas? Who do you think
Jonas? Jonas.
I think Mayer. But
I think it's very
but
close.
then, to be honest, I think that's a very close fight, so I could be massively wrong on that.
I do. I think that's very close as well.
It is a very close fight. But here's my opinion as to why I think Jonas wins. Mayer, this extra weight does not suit Mayer. She fought the weight below last time out and looked really, really sluggish. She's going to be putting more weight on against Natasha Jonas, who's very comfortable at the weight. She carries a lot of power. Natasha Jonas knows her way around this division. I think you're going to get the same performance out of May that you got out of her last time, and that's a sluggish performance.
Mayer's last fight? Because I must have missed one.
I can't remember her name, but she looked very, very, very average.
Yeah, she didn't look great.
It was the same opponent as Lauren Price fought last.
Oh, her. Yeah, okay.
From Italy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Italian girl. Yeah, I know who you mean.
That's right. That's right. She doesn't look good with the extra weight. I mean, maybe with a bit more time she can get used to the fact that she's carrying the extra weight, but she certainly didn't look it in that last fight. Hakan, what's your opinion on that fight?
In Liverpool, yeah. I'm going to that card, and with the addition of the addition that the wild card fight, McKenna
and what's his name?
What's its name?
Udofia.
Yeah, Udofia.
Linus Udofia.
Yeah.
With that addition, I think it's a good
card. The first name.
Yeah, it's a good card.
Yeah, very good card.
And Callum is a very good fight.
Mm.
I'm looking forward.
So, Hakan, you didn't answer the question. Who wins, Jonas or Mayer?
I think it's a 50-50 fight, and I think I can't go. I think it's very difficult to judge the fight.
Give us a winner. Go on.
And Jonas only fought once in that division in the summer. She hasn't been very active either.
No.
So she fought a lot in 2022 and was she was awesome in those 3 world titles fights in 2022. But so I think that Jonas could win on a very close decision. Maybe a split decision.
Guaranteed it's going the distance. That's a cert.
Yeah.
Andy, just because I want to pat myself on the back here, what did I tell you off camera last week was going to get announced and has been announced this week?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Katie Taylor dropping the IBF strap she's dropped.
The IBF and WBO.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting because quite clearly she isn't fighting at lightweight anytime soon. I'll be surprised if she ever. I'll be surprised. Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, Jack. I'll be very surprised if she ever fights at lightweight again. Why is she not just giving up all 4? I can't see her fighting.
Of them taking them off her. Maybe she didn't choose to do it. So in which case,
maybe so.
Hold of them.
Maybe so. But I don't really understand it because, like I say, I don't think she ever fights at lightweight again. I think she only ever fights once, and that's this big fight at Croke Park. It's the fight she's been clamouring for.
Yeah.
And you can't blame her forever. I mean, it's a swan song fight. It's a good way
to say goodbye, isn't it?
Of course it is, mate. And if she does pull the win off, then why would you risk another fight? Yeah, everyone's calling the Serrano 2 fight, which is another brilliant fight. In my opinion, guys,
Serrano's got left though.
No, well, she seems to be going on forever, mate. I mean,
well, I feel like we'll be in 2027 still saying how many Amanda Serrano got left because she doesn't age.
No, and she seems to be ploughing through. You know, this 12 3-minute round scares a lot of female fighters at the minute.
Which is why I don't think we get the rematch. By the way,
no. Well, there's no way Katie Taylor does 3-minute rounds.
12 threes.
No.
Chantel might, but then I don't see that ever. I don't know.
Chantel I think 12 3-minute rounds.
I think Chantel's too big for Serrano.
But I can see Serrano trying it because she doesn't care.
No, she doesn't. You're right. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what happens.
If it was going to happen, Chantel would have to go down. I don't think Serrano would go up to 10 stone. I think Chantel would have to go down if that was to ever happen.
The thing is for me as well with the women's boxing, I totally get of why the 12 3-minute rounds. I totally get that, but the fun factor for women's boxing for me is the 10 2-minute rounds. I
get you because it's all action. Yeah, it's all action.
What you mean, the pace of it and everything?
Yeah,
everything. Yeah, and I think for me, if you have 12 3-minute rounds in the future that actually come in more for women's boxing, I think the aspect of what people find it entertaining would decline. For me, my opinion.
I hear what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. The problem I have with 2-minute rounds is they're very, very difficult to score.
I agree with that. Yeah,
I wouldn't want to be a judge.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You've seen so many really, really bad decisions in female boxing recently,
and some really weird scorecards.
Exactly that because they're so action packed. I mean, they stand and trade, and they don't stop trading for 2 minutes. How'd you score that? It's very difficult.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So 3-minute rounds is going to give you're going to get a little bit of. It's going to be a much more of a tactical fight, and it plays into the hands of somebody like a Chantel Cameron, in my opinion, because she's a much more patient fighter.
Yeah.
Right, lads. I think it's time we called an end to the show.
Before we go, there's one thing I wanted to bring up to that, and because I get sent it. There's a fight being ordered on the latest board circular, which will go on their website, so I'm allowed to say it. Moses Atuma has been ordered to fight Solomon Dakers for the English title. One, does anyone think that actually happens? And two, if it happens, who wins it?
So Solomon Dakers is now
Been ordered.
signed.
He's now signed
by
Queensbury.
Yes. So he didn't look very good last time out, did he? He was very lucky to get that decision.
I thought
he was
Webster beat him.
shocking.
I know I'm biased because I've matched Webster, but I thought he beat him.
Yeah, I did as well. Yeah.
That is,
Solomon
it's a very
for me. He's a nice heavyweight. He lacks the spite, and he's a decent operator. He's very technical. But I think when the pressure
absolutely destroys him if that fight ever
I think if someone like a Toma puts the pressure on him, he'll fold.
I'm not sure he's big enough.
What's that? Sorry.
I'm not sure he's big enough. Atoma.
Who, Dakers or Atoma?
Dakers, sorry, Dakers. I don't think he's big enough.
I was going to say Atoma looks quite big, to be fair.
Atomu, is it? Do you want to say, Jack? Is it too soon?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it too soon for him to be fighting for the? Because if he wins the English, he might not straight away, but he will eventually get mandated for the British, and he's not ready to fight Wardley.
No, he's not.
So in 2 fights, is he going to be ready to fight Wardley? No.
He won't have to fight Wardley in 2 fights. He can stay at the English level, making mandatory defences.
That's what I'm thinking. Would they have to just keep him at that level?
Yeah, they would.
Because there's no way he could go and fight. I mean, to be honest, I don't think Wardley will have the belt that long. So I think eventually he's going to kick on and go.
The thing is with the Dakers,
he's already ranked with the WBA.
Well, the thing is with the Dakers, he's a tippy tappy heavyweight that isn't at the level he thinks he's at to get away with what he does. When he has someone put the pressure on him, like an Atoma, he'll fold.
I really rate Atoma, by the way. I sound like I'm slagging him off. I don't. I actually think he's probably the best heavyweight he's the best of that generation that's going to come through. But because we haven't really seen any of the others yet, because they're all still amateur.
Do you know what is going to be interesting? Is when Atomu gets his man strength and he's up there at world level, and then you've got across the other side of the pond, you've got Jared Anderson, who again looks like an absolute warrior.
Do you know what? I think at some point, and this goes back to what I said earlier, where we see Bacoli versus Dubois. If Dubois was to win that, I can see a situation where in 3-4 years we're having Dubois versus Atoma for a world title.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, mate.
And I think Atoma may beat him in the long run.
Dubois won't make it to that level.
No.
I don't know. Does no one think... Because bear in mind, he's probably going to end up as fighting Akoli for the vacant WBA at some point.
I did think... I've got to... I'll give Daniel Dubois credit. I thought he looked much better last time out.
I also thought Jarrell Miller looked awful, by the way.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I thought... My opinion was that Jarrell Miller was all wrong for Daniel Dubois. His style. Same. I got it wrong because it didn't come out like that. But for me, the win over Jarrell Miller, how poor he was, without taking anything away from him, flattered Daniel Dubois a little bit.
Oh, he beat a world level heavyweight. Don't get me wrong, but
But he's slow and static, really.
He's awful.
He beat a bad version of him. Now, I said about Joshua fighting Caballero, I wouldn't mind Dubois fighting him just for the European, just to kind of do something. Yeah, because Caballero
will run rings round Daniel Dubois.
Caballero has what I've
Has he got a mandatory?
Caballero has vacated the European.
What, again? Because he vacated it, then won it again.
Yeah, that's...
for God's sake, he keeps vacating it and giving it
on the
winning it.
Saudi cards. And I saw a post today that he has vacated the European.
He's a quality heavyweight, you know, Caballero. He's one of the dark horses, I think.
He just doesn't fight anybody until he
Tom
randomly
Swartz
turns
is to fight for the European title.
Who?
Tom Swartz.
Who Fury battered?
Oh, him. Is he still boxing?
Yes.
That tells you what he's done since the Fury fight, doesn't it?
I think we need to
I
think
was
about
at sports
I didn't
fight in
realise he still
Germany
boxes.
in 2022.
Would you guys like to know something about someone who was on that Saudi card? I tried to get Mark Damori approved to fight over here, and the board wouldn't approve it.
Jack,
that was a shocker.
Jack, are you sniffing glue?
What? Why?
Mark Damori.
Yes, I tried to get him approved to fight a certain heavyweight, which I'll tell you off camera, Andy. And the board said no. And that
Good.
heavyweight
I'm glad they
at the
did.
time
That's the first thing the board's. Jack. That's the first thing the board's done that makes any sense in about 10 years.
Fair, they have ordered Dacus versus Atoma, so it's a second thing.
Mark Damori's dreadful.
He is, yeah.
I know.
Before we go, just quickly, I want to say I think everyone needs to be careful of Caballero in the heavyweight division. Very skillful fighter.
I agree with you.
Very skillful.
So on that, Carl in the sidebar, who's trolling, doesn't want to come back on camera. He's trolling, but he's put that Caballero hasn't fought anyone.
Well, he beat Derek Chisora.
He beat Derek Chisora when Derek Chisora was actually half decent.
Correct.
And then he's just beaten
the one-trick pony, Makhmudov.
Who actually I had no idea.
He was poor, to be fair.
I tipped Caballero to beat Makhmudov. I thought he was.
Did you?
I thought, to be honest, I thought he'd probably be on points, but Makhmudov is a one-trick pony, and I could see it in. The only guy that took him the distance before that fight was Carlos Takam. Had a little bit of movement. Makhmudov didn't like it.
Can I get in about the European title?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I did check that it's Tom Swartz against the Belgian Riyad Mehri.
Oh, I know Riyad Mehri.
Yeah, that fight is ordered now for the vacant European title.
I'll be honest, I think Riyad Mehri probably beats Tom Swartz. I'll be honest, Riyad Mehri probably beats Tom Swartz. Which,
yeah.
Not that I think Riyad Mehri's like a world level heavyweight or anything. I just think he probably beats
Tom Swartz.
Well, that's my point.
Guys, is there anything before we call it a night? Is there anything else you want to bring up?
Sorry, a manager was calling me there. I'll call him back in a minute.
Quickly, do you think we get Parker Hrgovic next?
Either Parker Hrgovic or Parker Zhang for me.
I've just read that Zhang has said he signed his part of the deal to fight Wilder next.
Wow.
So
how many chances is Deontay Wilder going to get? How many shots at the pie is Deontay Wilder going to get? Because other than Tyson Fury, I'm sorry, I know he's the one of the biggest punchers of all time. Other than Tyson Fury, who has he fought?
Louis Ortiz, but he was getting his head boxed off.
No, he was getting his head boxed. He was getting his head boxed off by a 96-year-old.
To be fair, he did actually. Not that he was any good, but he did actually beat a world champion. He didn't win a vacant title.
A world champion.
Yeah, he did actually win the WBC title off someone. It wasn't like he won a vacant belt.
Okay, Jack.
Admittedly, the guy only had the belt because Vitaly Klitschko decided he wanted to retire.
Right. So okay. Since that world title fight, who's he fought?
To be fair, it was Stavern, so meh.
Who's he fought, Jack? He's not fought. He's not fought anybody. He's been handed easy fights for his whole career.
He got ordered to fight anyone any good. He pulled out of it, and there was all that weird thing that Povetkin ended up getting paid a load of compensation. I
don't understand it. I've said it 1,000,001 times. The guy cannot box.
No.
When he's put on the back foot like he was against Joe Parker, he doesn't know what to do. He's done. He's done. If he can't be, with all due respect to Joe Parker, did anyone see that performance coming from Joe Parker?
Yeah.
No.
I did.
I did. Yeah.
Off of the back of what though?
Yeah,
I thought he was
how?
wrong for Wilder. I thought he was all wrong for Deontay Wilder.
I get
Oh,
I get
yeah,
that. I get that. I understand that. But
Josie, I backed him.
But what performance in the last 5 or 6 performances from Joe Parker tells you he could have done what he did? He's not given that level of performance.
I
And
agree,
for
but I
me-
just think because it was Wilder, I thought he could beat him.
Yeah.
Me
No,
too.
granted. Yeah. I think lots of heavyweights can beat Wilder if they can put him on the back foot like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I tweeted Parker to win on UD before the fight.
Good
Yes,
bet.
I remember this because I was like, because bizarrely, you and Rob Tebbett were the only 2 people I saw tweet that.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No,
I'm not the slightest bit. I'm not the slightest bit interested in watching Zhang against Deontay Wilder.
I know what you mean.
Not the slightest
I
bit.
would watch it. Part of a card, I'd watch it, but I know what you
I'd
mean.
watch it as an undercard fight.
Yeah.
It's not going to be though, is it? It won't be an undercard fight. It'll be an headliner.
It might be in Saudi, to be honest.
I just it's very, very bizarre. The way Wilder performed was very bizarre. I don't understand what was going on.
It's going to be the undercard of Joshua and Ngannou.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's where they're going to go.
Has anyone
Frank
seen
Warren
that,
said Zhang's going to be out in March, so it's going to be.
Has anyone
undercard.
seen that Aziz and Buatsi's gone from being an eliminator to a final eliminator now?
Has it?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
No.
so the winner of Beterbiev and Smith technically at some point will have a mandatory of either Dan Aziz or, if I'm right, Joshua Buatsi.
I bet they're quaking in their boots.
Well, does anyone else think that is the most pointless mandatory going? Because, that's never going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to fight for undisputed and then one of them's going to cough the belt up, whoever wins it.
Guys, I'm gonna bring the show to an end. It's been an absolute pleasure having Hakan and Darren on the show.
Cheers, mate.
Jack, you're like furniture, so I'm not thanking you, mate.
Yeah.
But guys, you're more than welcome to come back on the show whenever you like. It's a free open reign. Just let us know. Drop me a message on DM or drop Carl a message on DM, and we'll get you the link over. Come on anytime you want. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks to everyone in the sidebar for all the comments that you've made tonight. This has been Last Bell Boxing. This has been Last Bell Boxing. We do this 7 o'clock every single Thursday. We'll see you next week.
See you.